Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this two-piece. So we are going to be starting with the pants, the pleated girder. So guys, basically what you're going to need here is your front panel and then the back panel. The back panel is going to be wider by at least 3 inches, you see, and then the fabric is folded into two. So I just wanted to show you guys the wide, like how much you need more for the back panel. Then I'll tell you how you're going to calculate the one for the front panel. So just know that the back panel is wider with 3 inches on a fold. You see, 3 inches on this side, 3 inches on the other side. So in total it might be 6 inches or so. So now let me take away the back panel so that we can discuss. So guys, the first thing is the hip measurement you're working with. So I'm working with hip of 46. So this 46, I'm going to divide it by 4, like how we normally make pants, right? 46 divided by 4. So that's going to give me 11.5. So this 11.5, you know, this is how we get our crotch measurement, right? So, and then, so what I'm going to do is, first, I'm going to just mark ½ an inch at the top of this here. This is going to be the ½ an inch to join the waist of my pant to the band. This is going to be to join it, right? So now, I'm going to put my tape at 2 inches point on this ½ an inch line. So where the ½ an inch line is where I'm going to put my tape, because my band is still going to come down to that ½ an inch point, right? So now the next thing I'm going to do is to mark where 11.5 will be. So this will be my crotch. So this will be the line for the crotch. I'm going to go ahead and mark that, right? But because this is going to be a girder pant, you will not use this line. You're going to add 1 inch to it because you need the crotch to drop a little bit, because it's going to be gathered and there's going to be a lot of fabric. If you use this directly on your crotch, it might be too bulky. So just to free up the fabric a little bit, bring your crotch down with 1 inch. So I'm going to wipe this off, and then so now my crotch is going to be at 12.5. So guys, now I've marked it. So you see, I wiped up the first line. So now we're using 12.5. Then the next thing you have to consider is the width of the fabric, right? I know you're thinking how I got the width. So basically, if you're making an ordinary pant, we would have used our hip divided by 4 and then marked it here, put in our crotch, right? But because this is going to be pleated or gathered, what you're going to do is this measurement, depending on the amount of fabric you have, you can do times 2.5 of it. I feel like times 3 will be a lot, but it depends on you. If you want, you can do times 3 of it, and that will be just the measurement you have on this fold. Like with your fabric folded into 2, that will be what you have facing this way. So what I'm going to do actually is times 2, because this person doesn't have a lot of fabric. For this pant, I think you will need up to, let's say, 3 yards of fabric, just the pant alone, or 3.5 yards of fabric just for the pant alone. So depending on your size. So this 11.5, I'm going to do times 2 of it. Even with the times 2, her fabric is not enough, but just go along with me. So let's say I do times 2. That means what I'm supposed to have on this fold is 23.5. And with that 23.5, you will still have your, you still need to add your crotch to it, right? So, and how you're going to calculate what your crotch would be divide this by 4. Right? Once you divide your hip by 4, you get this, you get one measurement. Whatever that measurement is, divide it by 4 again. That way you will get, by the crotch, I mean that measurement that we always add in at this point, that you give a curve. That's how you're going to calculate what this point will be. It might be 3 for you, it might be 2 inches, it might be 2.5. Whatever you get, you're going to first add your hip measurement divided by 4. Whatever you get, you times it by 2 or times 2.5, depending on the fabric you're working with. That will be the fold of your fabric. And then you add extra 3 inches or 4 inches or 2.5 to it. That will be the crotch measurement. So you understand, the hip divided by 4, the whole calculation, 23, 24, 20, 30, whatever it is you got, you still need that extra 2.5 or extra but if you don't have enough fabric like me, I'm going to take away that 2.5 from that 23, because her fabric is not much. So you understand. Now what I'm going to do, this is basically it. All I have to do is just to go ahead and cut this off. That is it for my front panel. So I'm just going to take my tape. There's no darting in this pan, there's nothing. All I have to do is just to take this, cut it off, and then I'm going to split this side into 2, and then we'll cut my back panel. So guys, now depending on the length you're working with, I already went ahead and marked mine. So for the front panel, I just, like I said, I place my tape at the 2 inches point because of my band. That will be 2 inches, and then I put my tape down. The pant is supposed to be 40 inches of length, but I added extra 2 inches to it, so it's 42, and I cut off the excess. This is what I cut off from the bottom. So now I put back the fabric again, making sure that the length of the, this is an Ankara fabric, I brought it down to meet up to the length of this here. So now I have more fabric here, you understand? So that fabric I cut off from the bottom to make up the length is now at the top here. But I know some people might be very tall. This person is not too tall, so that's why I was able to cut off that excess so that I can get fabric at the top here. But if yours is not that way, you can fold your fabric a different way, just so you can get at least some measurements at the top here, because the back panel has to have some fabric here because you have your butt at the back. So at least you need to have you need the back panel to be longer at the back, especially at the center back, than the front panel. So now what I'm going to do is, at the crotch here, you see where my front panel ends, right? See my front panel? Let me drop it, you see? So from where it ends, I need to extend it at least by 3 inches. So a straight line 3 inches down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do 2 inches from here all the way down. Connect it like this. So this is now my new back crotch, you see, all the way to the top. So now what I'm going to do is, from this top part here, guys, I don't want to do too much here for the back. So what I'm going to do is just 2 inches extension from the top here is okay for me. 2 inches more is because it's going to be gathered. One thing you don't want is for it to be gathered and then puffy at the back of her butt. So I'm not going to do up to 3 inches. Normally, if I was making like a palazzo pant that is going to be fitted and straight, or a pencil pant, I would have done maybe the same measurement I have here, I'll put it here. But for this, I'm just going to do 2 inches because the fabric is already gathered. So you don't want to make the back of her butt hang high up and too puffy. So I'm doing 2 inches now. And then from that 2 inches mark, I'm going to connect it to the very end where this side part, because this is the side of your pants, right? Where the side meets this point. So I'm going to connect it from this point here all the way down. You see, I blended it into the side of my pants. So that same line, because the side will still be the same. This is the side of my pant. All the sides will be the same, but the center back cannot be the same. So now let me go ahead and cut. So everything else I'm cutting the same again. So all I'm cutting out now is just this crotch and then this part. So guys, this is it here. So cut this out, cut this out. Now all I have to do is to split the side open for the back panel, and then I can take my band and start pleating it in. So guys, you see, basically first thing I did is to join the crotch. This is the first one, the front panel, join the crotch, and then I pleated it. So basically I just took the fabric this way, and then you can decide which way you want your pleat to face. So for the front, I decided to pleat it away from the center. So with this now, it will give it more like a flat tummy look if you pleat it away. So you see, I just pleated it this way, and then I pleated it this way. And then after that, I added my band. So my band looked something like this, folded into 2. And like I said, you're going to make sure you just have 2 inches on the fold this way. And then I just took the waist of the pant, put it inside of it, closed it up this way, and made a straight stitch down. So I will show it to you with the back panel. So with the back, the same thing is what I did, but for the back, the same thing is what I did, but you see, for the back, I'm coming towards the center line. So you see, I'm coming towards the center, but for the front, I was going away from the center. So you see, my darts, all of them are facing this way, this way, this way. So now all I have to do is just to take this band and then put this inside of it. If you're wondering how I got the length of my band, so guys, I already told you the width is 2 inches. The width of the band is 2 inches. The length I have here, her waist is 40. So that 40 inches, I just divided it by 4. So I made sure that on a fold, I will have 10 inches plus 1. So that means 10 inches plus 1. So 40 is round her waist, divided by 4 is going to be 10. So I'll make sure that each side of this fold has 10 plus 1. You understand? Each side of this other one has 10 plus 1. Also for the front, I made sure that this one is also from the center. I have 10 plus 1 on this side, 10 plus 1 on this side. So I'm going to use each of the 1 inch of seam allowance to So guys, if you want, you can have your zip at the center back, but I'm going to be having my zip on one side using the seam allowance of the side. If you want to have your zipper at the center back, so guys, normally the back panel looked something like this when we were cutting it, right? It looks something like this. It's just like this for the back of the pant. So if you want to have your zipper at the back, all you have to do is from that extension of the center back, you just go ahead and add at least 1 inch. Come down by the length of your zip, maybe let's say 10 inches into the crotch, and stop here. So that means when you go to sew, you sew all the way up, coming to this point, you stop, and then use this seam allowance to add your zip at the center back. You understand? So, but since I didn't do that for mine, I'm going to just use the side seam to add my zipper, if that makes sense. So my zip would have normally been somewhere here now, or if you want, you can use the front zip. Just remember to add this about 1 inch or 1.5 for the flap, so that you can use it as your zipper allowance. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and insert it inside of this band, and then that 1 inch I added on both sides, 1 inch in the front of this side, 1 inch on the front of the back, all of them will now use as my seam allowance. You understand? So let me go ahead and join that. So for the pocket, all you have to do is just to join it. So mine might have one side pocket and the other side will not have any pocket. So basically you're going to sew it, maybe come down after the band. Once you put in the band, come down by, let's say, 2 inches, and then from there you sew one side to this side, and then sew one side on the other side of the pant and close it up. That way you have your pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. So guys, you see what I was saying? So this is the back panel. I just went ahead and used that 1/2 inch to attach this, because I figured it would be somehow to just add pocket on one side and leave the other. So guys, so when you're cutting the back panel for your pants, try to add this so that you don't have to go back and put in an extra flap to it. Just come up here, depending on the length of your zipper, add this flap here, at least 1.5 or 1 inch, so you can use it for the zipper at the back. And then you're going to add your band separately, one for this side and one for the other side. So now once I put in my band using this, I'm going to have it closed up like this. So you understand? I'm going to go back now and put in this zipper, and then for the pocket, I already. So guys, this is the pants here. I finished it. You see the back, I later added this zip to it. So that's basically it. But if you don't mind not having pocket, then you can just use a side zip. You understand? But I feel like this pant, the beauty is also with the pocket. So now I'm going to set this aside, and then we're going to deal with the top. So basically, depending on the top length you want, add 2 inches for your seam allowance to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark her shoulder measurement divided by 2. Her shoulder is 17. Divided by 2 is going to be 8.5. Mark that here. I'm just going to be marking a basic bodice. Come down by 1 inch. Insert her armhole. And then I'm going to connect it. So guys, after that, the next thing I have here is the bust measurement divided by 4. So her bust is going to be 48.5. So divided by 4, I'm going to mark that. And so guys, after that, now I have about 1.5 for my seam allowance. Then guys, it depends on you if you want the boxy one. If you want the boxy one, all you have to do is just come down to the bottom part here. There's no dart in it. All you have to do is just come down to the waist part and then do this same bust measurement you have here. Put it down here, but all you have to do is just maybe take away 2 inches from that and then connect it here. That's how you make a boxy crop top. You don't have to add your waist measurement. Just the same measurement at the bust is what you have here, but maybe take away 2 inches from it so that it will pull it together. Or if you want, some people just leave it straight the way it is. That's when you have that really boxy one. But if you want the one that is a little bit put together, take away maybe 1.5 or 2 inches and then connect it. That's basic. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and put in the neckline. I'm going to just use basic neckline. Instead of 3 inches, I'm going to do 3.5. Connect the shoulder slope. And then I'm going to do 3 inches of neck width in front, or let me do 4 inches of neck width in front and then 1 inch for the back neckline. So that's basically it. I'm going to connect it to this point and then connect the back neckline. So that's all I have to do. So I'm going to just go ahead and split this back panel. So guys, that's basically it. All I have to do is just to come to this front armhole. I'm going to cut off about 0.5 from this front armhole, so my sleeve will relax better and not have excessive fabric in front. So guys, after that, now all I have to do is to cut my sleeve. So for the sleeve, I'm just going to come down here by 4 inches, which should be somewhere here, and then I'm going to mark a straight line across from this point to this point, and then find halfway through that, give it a curve below, and then I curve above. So this is just a basic sleeve. You're going to insert what their sleeve width is. Once you mark that, you connect it to this point, and that's basically it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then I'm going to join it. So guys, this is just a basic bodice pattern, and then you're going to join it together. There's no dart in this top because it's a boxy top, just like it's put together a little bit. So I've cut out about 1.5 or so from this. So all I have to do is to join the shoulder to the shoulder, and then I'm going to put in my zip, and that's basically it. So I'm going to go ahead and couple everything together so you guys will see. So guys, this is it here. I've made her crop top, and this is the back. Guys, I have so many videos on crop top on my channel. I'm going to try to link that below. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And guys, there's another thing I like to do in case if you feel like the boxy part is too much. You can always dart the back. Just give it a very short dart at the back, so it will help pull it together at the back, and then leave the front straight. So that's what I did for her. Yeah, I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Please guys, subscribe to the channel. Bye.